Hi, everybody. Welcome. Happy to be here. And that on the screen is Pop Network Testnet. So it's producing blocks. And like he mentioned, my name is Bruno. I'm a professional Polkadot tinker at Rogue. And one of our products is Pop. So what is Pop? Pop is a Web3 platform for Polkadot. So we want to build a way for developers to build trustless solutions on Polkadot, Web3 solutions on Polkadot, right? And one of the ways is Inc. smart contracts. So we're building Pop Network in a way that you can deploy Inc. smart contracts using the DOT token, okay? And the other way, which is the topic of today's presentation, is our CLI tool. So actually, the title should be Pop CLI. Developing on Polkadot has never been easier, all right? Our CLI tool is a tool to build either smart contracts on Polkadot or to build app chains on Polkadot. So let's start with this question here. Where are we, right? That's a bit of a, it's not a philosophical question. Like, in terms of Polkadot, where are we? Well, we're there, right? I took that screenshot a few days ago. We're right here. That's where we are, okay? How many of you have been in the Polkadot scene for, like, let's say 2 years? Can you raise your hand? Okay, we got a few of you. How many have you been here for 4 years around Polkadot? So you're acquainted? Okay, that's great, because at the end, I would love feedback on Pop CLI, okay? How can we improve Pop CLI when we think of the next iteration of Pop CLI? And how many of you have 10 years of substrate experience? Raise your hand. No? No? Okay. I think I saw that in a job requirement somewhere. So that's where we are. That's where I think we can be. That's where I think we should be. And that's where I think we will be. But how will we get there, right? Is it going to be through Jam? Is it going to be through, Polkadot's working, right? It's in the cloud. It's working. We got compute in the cloud. We can build Web3 solutions right now on Polkadot. Why isn't that happening, right? Well, this year, like, big topic was developer experience. So one way that we can facilitate building Web3 solutions on Polkadot is through Pop CLI, right? That's Rogue envisioned Pop CLI as one of the enablers for Polkadot development. So I got another question here. Who are you? I don't know who you are, but I took a UX course once, and one of the tenets in UX is that you are not the user, right? So don't take a biased approach. So as I'm demoing this stuff for you with the Pop CLI, think about, like, you are not the user, right? If this is a tool to enable Polkadot development, how could it be improved? Okay, because this is actually the theme of this talk today. The way that I envisioned it is to get feedback from all of you, from the ones that have raised their hand and have said, I've been here for 2 years in the ecosystem. I've been here for 4 years in the ecosystem. So the agenda is we're going to talk about Pop CLI, demo, and then questions or comments, feedback. So Pop CLI is an all-in-one development platform for Polkadot. The goal of Pop CLI is for newcomers, right? Not beginners, right? Newcomers, people who are already seasoned in programming and such, newcomers, to tap into Polkadot. Start with Polkadot, hit the ground running with Polkadot technology, right? So spin up a parachain, create a palette, create a smart contract, build a smart contract, deploy a smart contract, right? So I hinted that we have two main tracks. Smart contract development track and the app chain track, Polkadot app chain, parachains, right? When we began with Polkadot in the beginning, the narrative was let's push parachains. Let's say, come to Polkadot, build a parachain. That didn't work so well. That didn't work so well. And people were coming like, when should I build an Inc. smart contract versus a parachain? Well, now we're kind of flipping the narrative. We're saying, come to Polkadot, build an Inc. smart contract. And if needed, then build a parachain. Some teams may know right away they want to a custom consensus system, then okay, then go build a parachain. They know. But most teams, they don't need that. They don't need a customized node. They don't need to customize gas fees. They just need to build a basic solution that could be built in a smart contract. So let's start with a demo. So there's a few scenarios here. I have PopCLI installed. Let me make my screen bigger. So just to confirm, just to prove that I have PopCLI installed, I say pop help, and that'll list all the commands. So you can see that. I don't know if it's big enough. Do you see it? OK, so these are all the commands in PopCLI so far, right? So you can see that there's a command to create new stuff, command to build, and so on, right? So let's start with, like, I want to build a parachain. I want to create a parachain, right? How do I create a parachain in Polkadot? Pop new parachain. Return. All right, so we get prompted with some templates, right? So like think about this, like as you're seeing this, like how could this be improved, right? So right now there's some pop templates, there's some Open Zeppelin templates, there's some parity templates. So like if I go to pop templates, you could start a parachain, just a standard minimal parachain. That's a great way to start out if you're a newcomer. There's also an assets parachain, so it's not just like fungible assets, it's also non-fungible NFTs, right? That, if you select that, you'll get a parachain with assets already, everything compiled in the runtime. So contracts palette, right? Contracts parachain, WebAssembly, soon PolkaVM, and EVM parachain. So if I start with standard, it's going to ask me, okay, which release of Polkadot do you want? Okay, I'll select stable. What do you want to call your parachain? I'll just keep it a default, my parachain. What symbol do you want? So you can have a custom symbol for your parachain. I'm just going to keep it generic. How many token decimals? Do you want 12? Do you want 10? Right? Keep it generic. And so on. And then it generates, it's done. My parachain is created. I can CD into it. I can open it up in the editor of my choice. And there you go. There's a Polkadot parachain. Yes, I trust. Right? And you can see, there it is. Okay? There's the code. It's all there. There's the runtime. Okay? So I just created a parachain with PopCLI. Now, how do I, so if I wanted to build this, I could say pop build, okay, and it'll build it. But that's going to take forever. We would be here for quite some time. So I already have a parachain already compiled. I'm going to get out of this, and I'm going to CD into that parachain. I have it here. And I'll just open it up here. So this is already compiled. I ran pop build before. It's the same thing, my parachain, right? So say I want to spin this parachain up, right? How do I do that in Polkadot? All right, so when you use PopCLI, it creates this network file here. You can see that's the network file, and it's the configuration because a parachain runs with a relay chain, right? The Polkadot relay chain, and Rococo is one of the test relay chains for Polkadot. You can also use Paseo, that's fine. And then this is the configuration for the network that we're going to spin up. So thanks to ZombieNet, we can do this, right? So this is going to spin up a Rococo relay chain, and it's going to have two validators, Alice and Bob, and then finally the parachain itself, which is this my parachain that we just created, right? So how do we run this? We're going to say pop up parachain dash file, and the network file that we specify, there it is, right there. So it's going to spin up the local network, right? So keep in mind, what is this doing? It's spinning up the relay chain, and then it's onboarding the parachain. Okay, so it already did that. So if I were to copy this here, the Polkadot.js, we can like plug it in here, and we can see this is going to be the relay chain. It's already producing blocks. It's on block number 3, right? And if we go here, you can see Rococo local testnet, parachains, and it's going through the onboarding process. So you can see that's parachain 2000 as it was in the network config file, right? And it's slowly getting onboarded. It takes some time, all right? So once it is onboarded, we're going to see that the blocks are getting included and backed right here. Okay, so how do we access our parachain? Well, it's here. The link is here. Local testnet down here. Copy this. And we can open it up here using Polkadot.js UI. And you can see it's still being onboarded. That's why it hasn't started producing blocks. So we'll give that a minute, and we should see the screen starting to update. Okay, there it is. The parachain's producing blocks, right? So that's one way that Rogue has started lowering the barrier to entry to Polkadot, right? At least for app chain development, that's one vertical. Let's see, we got another demo here. So Pop Network is a parachain, right? Pop Network is a parachain. It's got a GitHub repo. That's the Pop Network GitHub repo. Pop node, you can see it's a parachain. It's got a node folder. It's got a runtime folder, right? So what if I want to use Pop CLI to spin this thing up? Can I do that? Well, yes, you can. So I have Pop node here in my terminal, and it's actually got a network file. It's got multiple. So you can see here, there's a devnet, toml, mainnet, and testnet. So if I want to spin up Pop Network locally on my machine for development purposes, I can just use Pop CLI for that and say pop up parachain dash file network, or in this case devnet, network devnet .toml. So not to kill my computer, while that spins that up, I'm going to kill the other one. This one, where did it go? So that I don't have two running at, is it already gone? No, it's in my VS Code. Otherwise, my computer's going to get fried. OK. So that's gone. My parachain, that was good. Sounds great. OK. And then we can close these. And then devnet. OK, so it looks like Pop Network is running locally. Once again, it's a parachain. So we have the relay chain, right? We can see here. And open that up, and then if we go, okay, the relay chain is producing blocks. This time, you look up there on the upper left-hand side, it's Paseo, right? We're using Paseo for Pop Network DevNet. And if we look at parachains, it's using parachain ID 4001, right? So it's going through that onboarding process. You can see on the upper right-hand side, it says 70%. When that reaches 100%, within like a few seconds, this should update. We just might have to reload the page. Okay, so if we go to the parachain UI, that's Asset Hub actually. Oh, that's actually kind of cool. If we look at the if we go into the actual DevNet, so we can see that this is configured a bit more, right? You can see here that we have some additional configuration. So we're using Paseo local for our relay chain. We're using Alice as a validator, Bob as a validator. We're specifying the RPC port. And then finally, for Pop Network, we're specifying the parachain ID there, right? And the actual binary right there, the Pop node binary, right? And then we're also doing something really nice here. We're funding some developer accounts, some custom developer accounts, so that they're pre-funded when the network spins up, okay? And this is really nice as well, these debug flags, because this is a smart contract parachain. So when you're deploying Ink smart contracts, it's nice to be able to look at the logs and look at the debug information. I'd say that's almost essential. And then finally, the last piece is we're also spinning up Asset Hub there, okay, in case we want to do any Ink cross-chain type of solutions. So going back, here's the relay chain. And you can see the blocks are already getting included and backed for our parachain. Right? So if we wanted to confirm that, we can go back here, grab the link, and open it up. And you can see it's already got 14 blocks, 15 blocks on Pop Network. Okay, so this is great. Like if you want to develop Pop Network, you can use Pop CLI, or if you have another parachain, you can use Pop CLI. Any questions there before I continue demos? No? Okay. So let's see, I have one more demo. So for those of you who are like, maybe you're not parachain developers, right? Oh, bigger. It was just bigger. Larger. So maybe you're not a parachain developer. Maybe you run nodes. Maybe you run a staking operation, right? And Pop CLI may be useful for you to, maybe you want to spin up Polkadot locally, right? So here's an example where I have a network file that just has Paseo, right? Paseo is the community-led testnet for Polkadot, and it's going to spin up Paseo with 3 validators, right? This is the only file in this directory, that network.toml. That's the only file. It's my configuration file. So I can just say pop up parachain dash file network and hit return. Wait. Yeah, okay. So now it's running Polkadot, right, locally on my machine. So for whatever reason, depending on your work, you may find that useful, right, to have Polkadot running locally on your machine. Okay, so that's just like the simplest use case, right, that you can quickly run Polkadot, right? Most people, they want to run Polkadot with other parachains. All right, so that's it for the app chain track for now. If you have questions, there's more features in PopCLI for app chains, for Polkadot app chains. There's a lot more. There's also some features that we're playing around with internally that I'd love your feedback on. But let's pause there with the app chain stuff, and let's go into the smart contract stuff. So say I want to create a smart contract, right? Let me kill these relay chains here. That way we don't have all this stuff running in the background. Okay, so say I want to create a smart contract with PopCLI. How do I do that? Pop, new. Actually, let me make sure I'm in the good directory here. Okay, I'm in the Bruno directory. Okay, that's not a bad directory to be in. All right, pop, new, contract. So once again, similar approach, right? We get access to some templates, like some Inc. smart contract templates. We have some examples. We have ERC contracts. We have PSP, like the Polkadot standard smart contracts standard, right? Which is like PSP 22, PSP 34, which is like NFTs, non-fungibles, right? So let's start with just like examples. So in the examples, we have Flipper. Okay, I'll use Flipper. We'll call it Flipper. And it already created Flipper. I can open up Flipper just to show you that it was created, right? It was very fast. Do I trust Flipper? Yes. So that's my code. You can see that's Flipper right there on the screen, right? It's like the hello world of Inc. smart contracts. It's there. Okay, so say I'm ready to deploy this smart contract. How do I do that? Pop up contract. Similar approach, right? And then slightly different, because when you deploy a contract, what you're actually doing under the hood is you're going to upload it to a blockchain, a Polkadot like Inc. compatible blockchain, and you're going to instantiate it. So two things are going to happen. Upload it, instantiate. So in order to instantiate it, we have to look at the constructor, right? There's the constructor, and you can see there's a new, right? And it's expecting an initial value for its state, right? True or false. So I'm going to initialize this contract when I deploy it to like true, okay? So let's do that right there. Pop-up contract -- args, true. And it's deploying, right? So it's deploying a blockchain, substrate blockchain that you can run Inc. smart contracts. So the first thing that it's doing before it's deploying, it's going to build a smart contract. That's going to take a little bit of time, but nowhere near how much time it would take to build an app chain for Polkadot, right? Parachain takes much, much longer to build. This smart contract is going to be far faster to build. So once it's built, it's then going to prompt me, and it's going to ask me, do I want to spin up a substrate Inc. contract compatible blockchain on my machine? And I'll say yes, and it'll spin up that blockchain on my machine locally, and it'll deploy the smart contract to that blockchain. Oh, there it is, right? So it's prompting me. No, your contract artifacts are ready. You can find them in this location. No endpoint was specified. Would you like to start a local node in the background for testing, right? So no endpoint was specified. I could have specified an RPC URL there, and it could have deployed there. But I didn't do that, right? So the default is that it's going to spin up this blockchain. I'm going to say, yes, spin it up for me. All right, it's starting the local node, right? It's going to be a blockchain with pallet contracts. And there it is. The blockchain's running. So, and the contract got deployed. That's the address of the contract there. If we want to check, we could copy this, right? Just like we did before to check through the UI. The other place that we can check, which we have here, is contracts.onpop.io, right? It's just a different UI than the other one that this is more like smart contract specific UI. It's also more pleasing in the eyes. It's a little bit of dark mode there. And you can see in the upper left-hand corner, it's connected to the local node, which is green. Before, this was red, because I didn't have a local node running. And it says in my terminal here that the contract got deployed. Here's the address. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to say add new contract. I don't need to upload. It's already been uploaded. It's already been uploaded and instantiated. So I'm going to use the on-chain contract address. Paste it in there. And then I need to upload my ABI there. So go to Flipper, target folder, inc, and then flipper.contract, which has the metadata and the WASM, right? And I'm going to call this Flipper, just to keep it clear. And I'm just going to add the contract, and there it is, right? So now I can interact with the contract from the UI, all right? So I could do things like interact with the messages. I can flip it, use the flip message and flip the Boolean, and it'll flip from true to false. There's different methods here, like gets the value, which is true, which is what's expected, right? Because when we instantiated it with true, right? And we can see it's reading the state here. Okay, so we just deployed an Inc smart contract locally. All right? Not bad. What do you all think? Okay? Right? Somebody's saying time's up, but I 2 more minutes, right? So 2 more minutes. So last piece, how do I deploy it live? If I want to deploy it on testnet, right? So I want to deploy it here on a testnet. How do I do that? Well, so it wouldn't be local node. It would be pop network testnet. And I could say, let's see here. I'm going to clear this. And I can say add new contract, and I can just say upload new contract. Same thing, grab Flipper here, right? That's the contract that we created, and scroll down here and say next. And then I'm going to initialize it to true. You can see that you can also deploy it via the UI, right? And say next, upload, instantiate. So what's different now is that it's prompting me, Talisman is going to pop up there, and it's going to ask me to sign, right? Because now this isn't local development environment. This is on a test net, and I'm going to approve it for small amount of PAS pass tokens, right? The relay chain token, because remember, POP network uses the relay chain token, right? It uses dot, right? And in Paseo, it uses pass. So I'm going to sign that, and it's going to deploy the contract on POP testnet. It's been deployed. There it is. There's the UI. If I wanted to confirm on this crazy terminal here, right? This UI here, I could just also pull it up here and say, add an existing contract address, Flipper, and then pull up the metadata with the Flipper metadata. So there it is, and it's there. Okay, so the reason I had to kind of, it's so that I can interact with it, and I can say read, and there it is, true. Okay. So time's kind of up. I would like to pause here and ask, do you have any questions, any comments?
I have one question on the app chain.
Yes.
Will you include other templates like a simple staking, a simple governance per chain? Because right there it's just assets and contracts.
Yeah, we can. If there's demand for it, we can. Absolutely. Yes?
We have one demand.
What's that? Yeah, one demand. Yeah. Also, please ask any more questions. There's also this, for those of you who are online and as well here, you can scan this QR code. It's for a feedback form. So as we're thinking about okay, this is cool that we have this right now in Pop CLI, right? What's going to be the next iteration? 2025 is coming. What do you guys want to see on there, right? Some things internally that we're thinking about is parachain onboarding, right? So I showed you how to spin up a network with a relay chain and a parachain very fast, right? Locally. But what if we could do that live, right? On testnet, right? So how to do that, right? If Pop CLI could do that. Because if you do it manually right now, it's very cumbersome. All right? Any other comments? So just to get your gears rolling a little bit, also the other thing that we've been playing around internally on the app chain track is the ability to, say you create a new palette, right? Have PopCLI insert that palette automatically into the runtime, right? So thinking like things like that.
All right, Bruno, we are about time here.
Okay.
Anyways, if there's any questions, you can always find him afterwards, ask the question, and get connected. Bruno, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
And yeah, in about 5 or 6 minutes, we will have the main solutions architect at Energy Web. So, interesting stuff.